Hi, I'm Shawn Williams. You're here at 5-Star Martial Arts with my coach, Dave Molina. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at a mounted arm lock. You know, sometimes people have a little hard time submitting from the mount, so we'll look at a very specific mount that I like for stabilization, and then we're going to take a look at the arm lock off that stabilization. So Dave's going to lay down for me. I'm going to have a mount. Now, in my opinion, the most stable mount is a very low mount, and in which I dominate my training partner. I like to say training partner, not opponent, because we're dealing in sport. I'm going to dominate Dane's face here with my hand, so that my shoulder is in line with his chin. Now, notice I don't want my shoulder above his chin. I want my shoulder in line with his chin. So if you're tall, your hand might reach all the way around their face. You know, it looked like alien right there. So I want my hand to go on his cheek or chin, shoulder in line with his chin here. We're gonna lock our feet. A cross-legged mount, by far and away, is the most superior mount. If you ever watch guys like Hodge or Gracie, they're always with a cross-legged mount. So where my feet should be when I'm mounted is right up against where his hamstring meets his hips. Okay? I don't want my feet low, because you can untie them with his feet. So that's always a problem there. So I want to make sure that my feet are crossed and they're pulled up to where his hamstring meets his hips. My knees are actually very wide and very loose. I would like my chest on top of Dane's chest, not over his face. Okay? Again, it's going to be shoulder lined up with chin, chest lined up with chest, knees nice and wide, and legs crossed. Now, anytime we hold somebody's head, I must get my weight away from him, because there's always a possibility that he'll roll me this way. I've essentially trapped my own hand here, so we can be bump and rolled pretty easy. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to move our body all the way over to the side, and we're going to use our head for base sometimes, but you see the pressure you create already on Dane's head is just by proper body alignment. I'm not doing anything but proper body alignment. I'm not wearing out. You don't hear me breathing hard, because I'm not using any strength. Just lining up the body gets this face turn. Now, we're going to attack this arm. The great thing about this mount is it's so strong, I can tell him what an arm I'm going to attack, and it's still very difficult for him to stop, right? We're going to make some conditions when we want to take the arm. The very first condition, so that we don't lose our mount position, is to get this elbow higher than his shoulder. So we're going to go elbow to elbow, and I'm going to walk the arm up the floor, okay? When I get his elbow higher than his shoulder, I now know I can go for an arm lock, okay? We're going to fold our hands. Once I get his elbow higher than his shoulders, I can let go of his cheek here, and we're going to basically give CPR to the floor, I like to say, because I'm going to put my hands palm to palm on the mat. So we're going to put palm to palm over the top of each other, okay? This is going to give our clearance, all right? When I give CPR to the floor, I mean this. I'm going to push on the mat, okay? We're going to posture up. We can't stay here long, however, because you see this big gap? He's not naive. He'll take his arm through that gap if I stay here for very long. So once the arm is walked up the floor, we have palm to palm. We're going to open our feet. I'm going to open my legs. I'm going to use my right foot as I push. We're going to do what's called a knee slide. Okay? Wrestlers use this all the time. I'm going to use my right foot for leverage on the floor. As we give CPR to the floor, the right foot pushes, left leg moves up, we hit our knee slide. This is condition number 2. For a good arm lock, my knee must be at least as high as his head. That's a huge deal. If it's lower than his head, I'm not going to have a good arm lock. I'm going to have to straighten everything out later. I need to have my knee at least as high as his head, okay? Now, the hands that we're giving CPR to the floor, we're going to turn them over, and I'm going to pick Dane's head up, and I'm going to shelf my left elbow on my thigh. This is going to help reduce a bridge from him. If his head's off the mat, he's going to have a hard time bridging, okay? Now, let's fold our right leg into better position. So we're going to start to curve our right leg up and fold into better position. What do we care about here? I care about my thigh attached to his chest, not the space between my ankle and his hip. Sometimes this is a common problem. I see guys try to walk their foot up. It makes a big gap underneath the knee. This kills my arm lock. If the gap gets underneath the knee and he can get a frame worked underneath my knee, like so, my arm lock is no more. My triangles are no more. If I keep my leg flat on his chest and he decides to dig underneath my ankle, no problem. That's A, number one, very difficult to do. A, number two, we're able to lock that and take an arm with a triangle type of position. So I care about this space, not this space. Okay, with the leg tight, we have a lot of power. All right. Once we fold our leg so our foot faces his head, I got to get off my butt, okay, because I can be pushed backwards. So we're going to get up and we're going to kickstand. I like to call this a kickstand. I'm using my toes on the floor with my heel facing up. All right, we're still pulling his head up and we're sitting right on his sternum. It's getting very tight now. When we're ready to go for the arm, one detail that I like to tell my students here is that as I go elbow deep on the wrist, I touch my right ear on this knee. That gets my weight lined up on Dane properly. It also starts to extend his arm and it lets my left leg get over the head easy, and then we sit back. Okay? As we fall for the arm, I don't want to make the mistake of using two hands. Notice when I was up there, we used an elbow deep on the wrist. My right hand is going to back that hand up. Okay? We want the thumb facing the ceiling on this style of arm lock. Not on every arm lock, but on this one, thumb facing the ceiling. So we have an elbow and a hand. I want my knees nice and tight and I want my feet pulled in. The foot on the body may or may not touch the ground. It's irrelevant. But I want my knees tight. The leg over the head will touch the floor and I want to pull that in to secure the head tight. So we've got elbow deep and one hand on the wrist. If I hyperextend the arm and I'm having trouble, then I can go to two hands. I don't want to make the mistake of having two hands here because watch, Coach Dane will just curl me right back up. Strong guy is going to curl you up. If you go elbow deep and he tries to curl you up, you'll be here all day because this lever is much shorter and is now attached to my body. Let's take a look at that a little bit faster now. So we have the mount. We've got good shoulder and control right at the chin level. I'm grabbing Dane's cheek. We're making sure our weight is off to the side to make it very uncomfortable for my training partner. Elbow to elbow, we walk the arm in a semicircle so I don't lose his hand. Once his elbow is above the shoulder, that's condition one. As we give CPR, condition two, I meet it. I get my knee higher than his head, at least as high. I pull the head up and shelf my left elbow on my thigh. That gives my legs power. We curve our leg in position. Remember, thigh is attached. We don't care about the ankle. The ankle can be loose. Okay, we want to snug that into the armpit. We push our weight, kickstand our weight right onto our training partner's chest. Elbow deep on the wrist. My right ear is going to touch the far leg, not the near one, the far leg. Lets me pass my leg over quickly and easily. And then we have our elbow deep hand position to take the arm lock from the mount. Let's take a look at full speed. So, Shawn Williams from 5-Star Martial Arts with Coach Dane. Hopefully that helps your arm lock from the mount. If you're ever out in LA, please look us up.